rapid response situation and a crisis are two different types of events. Rapid response involves responding quickly to breaking news, newly trending topics, or other urgent matters related to your work. Engaging in rapid response is an important way to help an organization increase its influence. To become adept at responding quickly, it's important to proactively create a rapid response protocol to guide your actions during quickly unfolding events. On the other hand, a crisis is an unplanned incident that threatens your organization. This includes events or potential events that can impact your organization's reputation, your employees, or your ability to do the work. Every organization will eventually face some type of crisis, big or small. It's hard to be strategic when your organization is under threat, so it's essential to create a crisis communication protocol in advance to guide you. Rapid response communication can be used to advocate for key policies when they are in the spotlight, increase your supporters, show your values, and shape the narrative around a timely issue. It's also a way to increase your visibility by getting into the news without creating the news. The most important decision you make in a rapid response situation is whether you should respond at all. Think through these questions as you consider whether to react. Does it align with your organization's work? Do you have an important call to action to share in this moment? Is your perspective missing from the conversation? Do your stakeholders expect you to respond? Can you act quickly? Rapid response moments require that you act fast. To be in the media, for example, you must respond within an hour or two of the event. Create a rapid response protocol to help you move quickly and thoughtfully. Your rapid response protocol should include the names and contact information of your rapid response team, or a few key decision makers at your organization who can come together to quickly decide if you should issue a statement. A list of the types of events that are most important for your organization to respond to. Think about past moments where it would have helped if your organization issued a timely response, or where you saw similarly situated organizations respond and realize some benefits. Sample messages for each of these likely rapid response events that you can use to quickly craft a response. A list of audiences to immediately engage with and the best way to do so. Apart from engaging with the press, for example, you might want to engage with donors over email or supporters over social media. When an event occurs that may warrant a response, immediately notify your rapid response team and decide if and how you should react. Use your plan to identify which audiences you want to engage with and what messages you want to use. Consider the tactics that are appropriate for your response. For example, a press statement, a social post, group text, an email to your supporters, or other options. Consider if you need to create your own direct call to action in the moment, like a GoFundMe or a sign-on letter, or if it makes sense to use an existing call to action from someone more impacted by the event. A crisis is an event that potentially threatens your organization's ability to operate on some level. Every organization will confront crises at some point. Crises can be stressful, and many organizations freeze up during these moments because they are afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing. That's why it's so important to prepare in advance, so that when a crisis emerges, you can comment quickly, truthfully, and strategically. Another common mistake is assuming a crisis has to be a catastrophe before you need to respond. Even a small crisis can cause short and long-term reputation challenges for your organization. These harms can be avoided if your crisis is properly managed. Being prepared for crises can help you turn difficult moments into opportunities. A timely, authentic, and thoughtful response helps share or reinforce your organization's values publicly. And it also helps maintain or even strengthen the trust and credibility you've built up with your key audiences. To prepare for crises, it is crucial for your organization to create a crisis communication protocol. A crisis communication protocol should include the names and contact information of key stakeholders at your organization who can come together to quickly decide how to act in a crisis. Think of this as your internal risk committee. This group of 4 or 5 people should include your organization's executive director or CEO, your communication and donor relations leads, and potentially the president of your board or your attorney. Your crisis protocol should include a rubric for determining whether an event could cause enough of an impact on your organization to escalate it to a crisis. Consider in advance the concerns you are most likely to face and at what level they become a significant concern. You will need to set up systems and processes to anticipate and identify potential crises before or as they happen. Monitor your public profile. Track your organization's and key stakeholders' mentions in the news, on social media, and through Google Alerts. Read every press request that you receive and be responsive. Keep lines of communication open with your stakeholders if they raise anything that could even potentially be a concern. For any new actions or initiatives you introduce, ask what could go wrong and decide if you need to plan ahead. For each likely potential crisis you lay out, identify the audiences you will need to communicate with and in what order of priority. Identify the best way to reach them, who needs to engage with each audience, and determine if you have the capacity to handle that outreach or if you need to add capacity in a crisis. Identify the best spokespeople to engage with each audience and ensure they are prepared. For example, your executive director might be the best messenger for your board. Supervisors might be the best messengers for staff. If you receive press inquiries, ensure that your spokesperson is media trained and informed of the event details. Each messenger should be primed with key talking points in a timely manner and prepared to stay on topic when questioned about the crisis. Create general messages to draw from for these audiences by asking, how might they react to learning about the crisis and what would they be worried about? What information would they want to know? And what would they want to hear in a response? What do you want them to do, think, or feel? What do you need to say to bring about that action? This protocol should be revisited annually and updated to reflect organizational changes as well as messaging updates. If a crisis occurs, it's important to take the lead in internal and external conversations instead of waiting for the issue to receive media attention before reacting. Once you identify a potential crisis, contact your internal risk committee right away and be prepared to act quickly. You must be truthful in your communication in a crisis. Your key audiences can immediately tell if your response to a crisis is avoidant, dismissive, or inauthentic to your values as an organization. And that can erode trust, hurt your credibility, and potentially impact your ability to operate effectively. Remember to stay calm. Use pre-drafted lists of audiences and messages as a starting point in crafting your talking points. Determine how you are going to engage each audience and how frequent. Responses could include one or several of these tactics: direct engagement, internal communication, earned media, social media, or utilizing validators. Direct engagement. In some cases, it might make more sense for a member of your organization to reach out directly to the person who has stirred or amplified the controversy, especially if you have a direct relationship. Internal communication. It's critical your staff and board members receive pertinent information before it goes public, and that you have channels in place to hear from employees as needed. Earned media. The risk committee should assess whether to proactively engage with the media by issuing statements or calling reporters. If you receive any media requests, it is not good practice to ignore them or say no comment. Create talking points or a holding statement to have on hand for questions from the media. Social media. There's always a constant stream of social chatter, and you will have to decide what is worthy of a response. Understanding the influence and credibility of the people posting about you on social media will help you determine whether to respond and what kind of tone, such as aggressive, straightforward, or apologetic, to use. Engage validators. Proactively develop a list of people outside your organization who are willing to speak for you when you are under attack or your credibility is questioned. As the threat of a crisis recedes, focus on maintaining contact with key stakeholders and rebuilding confidence, resuming normal communication, debriefing the crisis, and adopting lessons you learned for the future. When you debrief after a crisis, review and evaluate what went well and what didn't go well, including response time, messaging, and immediate damage to the organization, such as loss of partners, funders, or employees. Adjust your crisis response and move ahead. Both rapid response and organizational crises require you to act quickly. Learning how to do so takes preparation and practice. Make sure you have a solid rapid response protocol and crisis communication plan so you can manage unexpected situations and turn them into opportunities. Learn more at strategiccommunicationtools.com.